I'm Ariel Azor, host of Right This Way, and today we're going to talk about some of the coronavirus guidelines and why they just don't make sense. So to start off, I'll mention again, I've said this plenty of times, but I'm from Pennsylvania, so we've got Tom Wolf telling us what to do the last couple months. He's been telling us what to do the last couple years, but no one's really noticed until the last couple months. I think this is probably true of several states' governors. Not to say they don't do anything, of course they do, but I think really we haven't noticed what a whack job he is until now with coronavirus. So all of these Democratic states especially have much, much stricter guidelines and regulations for reopening things, stores, the mall, anything, you name it, anything that is able to reopen, restaurants, they have all these guidelines, churches, they have all these guidelines they have to follow and specific rules that are supposedly state law, depending on what state you're in. But Pennsylvania, yes, we are not allowed to go to stores without wearing a mask. Literally any store you walk into, it's apparently state law that you wear a mask. That's what they tell us. Now, it's completely unconstitutional to tell me that I have to wear a mask wherever I go, because if masks made any sense to wear, I mean, so many doctors have come out and said masks do nothing. So many other doctors have come out and said you must wear a mask or you'll all die. So, I mean, there's totally both sides to this, and, you just pick whichever one you believe, I guess. But that's not really the case, because if we really dive deep into what's going on, what these regulations say, and what they allow and don't allow, you're actually going to see a lot of patterns here. So we're allowed to wear any face covering, and that's what the signs say, is you can wear a face covering, because we know people can't get masks everywhere. We know they're sold out. We know we can't say a specific type of mask, and we know we cannot require people to buy them because their response can always just be, couldn't find one. But when you say face covering, they can cover their face with literally anything, any piece of cloth or fabric or anything, a towel. You can cover your face with anything, but that's not actually effective. And that's something that doctors are not divided on. A bandana you pull up over your mouth, or your shirt you pull up over your nose and mouth, it's completely ineffective. It stops nothing. But that's okay. That is following the rules and regulations. But these rules and regulations are to keep you safe and protect you. They're to protect me from a virus, which is supposedly very, very deadly. Yet they allow me to basically do nothing. The only difference between wearing a cloth, towel, bandana, face mask, t-shirt, and not wearing one, or sock, I mean, any of those things that are not at all a face mask of any sort, the only difference between that and wearing nothing at all is what you look like wearing it. You look just like everybody else. You're conforming, and you're doing exactly the same thing that everybody else is doing. So, what's the danger of this? Who cares? If they just want us to wear masks, who cares? Some people are like, it's just to keep us safe, it's to protect us, it's your choice if you want to wear a stupid fake mask. Well, here's the problem. It's my choice if I want to wear any face mask. A stupid one, a real one, a protective one, or none at all. It's completely my choice. I don't have to wear it anywhere. Now, here's the catch. Businesses, privately owned businesses, can do whatever they want. They don't have to follow the government. They're not government laws. In the same way that Field & Stream can choose to not sell bullets or ammo or guns to anyone under 21, even though that's not the law, in the same way that they can choose to do that, stores can choose to force you to wear a mask or not wear a mask. Now, normally, I would just say, okay, I don't want to shop here because I don't want to wear a mask. It's uncomfortable. It's not healthy. We'll get to that. There's no point, because I know I'm not going to die from coronavirus, and I really don't want to wear a mask. I don't like covering my face. After these many, many months of being in weird confinement, and then every time you can go out, you can only see this much of people's faces. After months of that, I'm so sick and tired of it. And everybody's like, well, why don't you just wear a mask? It's the rule, just do it. I'm so tired of it. I just want things to be normal. And we're going to get into that in a minute too, about the negative effects of quarantine, and kind of talk about whether that outweighs the supposed positive effects that the government told us, this is going to help you, this is for your own good. Do we listen to that, or do we look at facts and statistics and say, this is not the case because mental health has declined by this much and crime has increased by this much because it's acceptable, fully acceptable, to go anywhere wearing a face mask with your face covered? So we'll get into that in a minute as well. But going back to the masks, why is it okay to wear a sock that does absolutely nothing or a bandana that does absolutely nothing, but it's not okay to wear nothing that also does absolutely nothing? It doesn't make logical sense. Many of these other guidelines make absolutely no sense. It's no common sense. So one of them I've seen a lot is doors. The doors, there's 2 doors in a lot of buildings, restaurants, stores, anything like that. A lot of them have 2 doors and they both open. And I see a lot of them, this door is in and this door is out. But somebody needs to explain to me, if I can go in this door and walk right past this other person who's coming out, we're not 6 feet apart, we're still breathing on each other. Who cares which side I go in? It doesn't matter. We're going to be just as close. So that's another guideline. It doesn't make any sense. And they're trying to guide people in the direction that they need to go, but it doesn't make logical sense. Another one is waiting in line outside stores. So many stores, they're saying, yeah, we're adhering to guidelines based on square footage. We can only allow this many people inside. And you have people standing outside in line and they're inches from each other. They're practically touching. How is that the social distancing that you're adhering by inside the store? You're saying we can't be less than 6 feet apart, but you're saying they can't stand too close together in the store. So we're going to have them stand really close together outside the store. And we're going to hurt our own business by making people wait to get in. Do you know how many people leave because they don't want to wait in line to go shop? And that's the thing is, again, if you want to adhere to stupid guidelines, adhere to them. I just won't shop there. And plenty of other people aren't going to shop there either. You're turning people away. That's on you and that's your decision. But when the government, Tom Wolf, anybody's governor starts telling them that they cannot leave their house without a face mask, like in California, and when you start telling them that they have to walk into a restaurant with a face mask on, and they have to walk to their table with their face mask on, but then they can sit down at their table, take it off, eat, talk, laugh, drink, and not wear their face mask. But then when they get up to leave, they have to put it back on and wear it out the door. Walking past people at less than 6 feet away, probably, because you know how restaurants work. I mean, they're pretty packed with tables usually, and I know they've removed a lot, but still you're going to walk past people on your way in or out, and you're still going to be less than 6 feet apart. So it's not social distancing, but it's like fake social distancing. They're like, yeah, we took out some tables and chairs, so there's less things in here. Totally makes sense. And Tom Wolf is like, great job. You're following the guidelines. Hold on a second. Again, does it make logical sense, common sense in our brains when we actually dig deeper into what these guidelines look like and what they actually do? You said we all have to be 6 feet apart or we're going to die. And we're not 6 feet apart, but we're also not dying. We'll go back for a minute to masks because I said I was going to go into this a little bit. I said they're unhealthy for you. Again, we have doctors on one side saying that they protect you from coronavirus, you'll be safe if you wear it, and we have others that say they do absolutely nothing. They do a little bit of something, but if you're going to get coronavirus, you'll probably still get it even with your mask on. So there's really pretty mixed reviews on that. But one thing that most people are agreeing with is that if you wear a mask for a prolonged period of time, and this is especially for doctors and nurses, it can actually cause you to pass out or inhale too much carbon dioxide or change the chemistry of your blood. All sounds really, really good and healthy. Those are doctors, so I understand why they're wearing them. They're protecting themselves and they're protecting other people. It was nowhere near as dangerous as they thought it would be, as they told us it would be. They said, you have to shut down everything, your lives have to stop because this is a very dangerous thing coming and we are going to protect you from it. But hold on, because locking people in their houses, not allowing them to go to work, not allowing them to even go get their hair done to feel good about themselves, while, mind you, all government officials and people that are high enough up that they can break the rules are breaking the rules, right? Tom Wolf is going to protest, even though you must be 6 feet apart. Even our restaurants still, you cannot be inside a restaurant and not be 6 feet apart and supposedly in your table. But Tom Wolf can go and protest and rub elbows, quite literally, with people that he's protesting with. That's okay. That's totally fine. Let's talk about this for a second because the government doesn't like to mention this. Mental health is important, right? Locking people in their houses, not healthy, especially for people who already suffer from depression, from any sort of mental illness where an entire upset of their life can trigger something, can trigger an episode or anything like that that causes some sort of mania, anything like that. The government doesn't want to talk about this and the media won't cover it because it's the ugly side of what they did to us. You have to stay in your house. You cannot go to work. You can't do this and you can't do this. It's all for your safety though, so don't worry that we're restricting you on things. It's all for your safety. What about the people that this directly harms, right? Because we don't know for a fact, it's the same thing with children wearing masks. We don't know for a fact that if you leave your house and if you go to work and you do this, you're going to get coronavirus. But we do know for a fact that somebody with mental illness is going to be very depressed when they cannot see friends, when they cannot live their normal life and do things that normally help with their depression or anything like that. According to Dr. Mike de Bois-Blanc, hopefully I didn't totally butcher that. I don't know why that has to be so hard to say, but he said in an article talking about the suicide rates during the lockdown, he said, one, I think it's time for us to reopen because it was originally only intended to flatten the curve of the virus spreading. But now with everything closed, we've seen a huge spike in suicide, in the suicide numbers. I'll quote here what he said. The numbers are unprecedented. We've never seen numbers like this in such a short period of time. I mean, we've seen a year's worth of suicide attempts in the last 4 weeks. But the government is doing this for our health, right? Yeah, yep, because they know what's best for us. They know what's best for everybody. Think about that. If depression can be seasonal for people and have to do with the weather or, just things like that, can you imagine what this complete 180 of people's lives, for some people that are very social, it's a complete 180 of your regular life, what this is doing to their mental health? This is a depressing time for people who don't suffer from depression. I can't even imagine what it's like for people who actually have mental health issues. Keeping you away from other people is more important than your mental health. The perceived threat of you getting coronavirus or your doctor getting coronavirus is more important than the actual proven fact that we can see you have a mental health problem. We've diagnosed you with this in the past. That possibility of coronavirus is more important than the actual sure thing of your depression, of your mental health issue. That's what it is. That's what they're saying. And that's what they've been telling us for months. That's not how they put it, obviously. And the media doesn't want to report on these stories because they just want to say lockdown is good, this is helping you, everything is for your benefit. And they kind of want to agree that coronavirus is killing everyone. It's the end of the world. It's going to, this is what we've been talking about for weeks, is what has been on the news. And that's why they won't report on stories like this. They won't tell you the numbers. And it was super hard for me to, I can't find actual numbers, like a list yet. They just say it's unsure what the lockdown will actually do for suicide rates. It's unsure. It's not unsure. Again, common sense tells me, just because you won't give me any numbers yet because you don't want that to be seen, they'll put that out later when people have forgotten about it. But just because you don't want me to see the numbers right now doesn't mean my own common sense, again, won't tell me that, logically, it makes sense that when you do this to people, their lives are totally upended. They're going to struggle. It's going to be hard. And what's something that really helps people, a lot of people at least, since such a high percentage of us are Christians? Church. But we're not allowed to go to that either. And that's, again, I don't think it's constitutional. Same thing as telling us we can't leave our houses without a mask. I don't think it's constitutional to tell us that we cannot attend church. That is literally what the First Amendment is for. Of course, there's separation between church and state. So I understand why people always then would try to make the argument, well, it's favoring church. But it doesn't favor church. It's very strictly put there in our Constitution for a reason, that you cannot infringe upon our rights to worship and that you cannot infringe upon our rights to worship. No matter what God we worship or where we worship or when or how, you can't infringe upon those rights. The thing is, when we walk into a store, restaurant, wherever, and we see every single person has a mask on, you think, oh, I must need my mask, and you go and put your mask on. But when I walk around for 5 minutes in sheets, people keep walking by me, everybody has their mask on until one person doesn't. That's the thing. So then they see somebody without a mask and you think, okay, I'm going to take it off. Because no one wants to wear them. No one thinks they're doing anything. And that's the thing, again, if you have a health problem, wear a real mask, right? Wear a real mask that will actually help you. But I don't have a problem. You don't have a problem. Most people do not have a problem. I think it's really important to point out what's happening behind the scenes. They say, this is to keep you safe. This is for your own good. I'm doing this to protect you. It's like Big Brother is saying this, but hold on. At the end of the day, doctors can say masks are good for you. Doctors can say masks are bad for you. No one probably really knows, but it doesn't really matter because the government doesn't have the authority to tell us we have to do this and we have to do this unless we allow them to. If we continue to allow people to tell us we have to wear masks, what if we all just stopped wearing them? What do you think Tom Wolfe would do? Literally nothing. Police officers are not going to arrest the entire state of Pennsylvania for not wearing face masks. I don't think they're going to arrest anyone because, again, you don't get arrested for that. And that's the thing is, it's a suggestion. They put it on the order, you must wear a face mask, but you must wear a face mask is kind of a suggestion. But in my experience so far, literally every single place I've gone, which in the last 2 weeks, I've not worn a face mask, and no one has said a single word to me. Interesting. If you've enjoyed this episode, you can give me a thumbs up on YouTube. You can leave a review on Apple Podcasts, and you can also check out my Instagram at right.this.way.